Live from the Statman HQ in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's the Statman Podcast with your host, Adamo Luciano, co-host, Colin Power, and of course, the one and only David Bruno.
All right there, Adam.
Come on, you like that professional? You like that professional opening? You like that professional opening?
Hey guys,
what's going on, boys?
All good, man.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Max Statman Podcast. And before we get started with episode 2, we got to go back and talk about episode 1. And honestly, I was overwhelmed with the response, with the views, with all the support. Special shout out to my boy in Toronto, Mark, who left that first comment up there. Thank you very much. Yeah, anything you want to say to the audience, Colin, about the response we got?
I'm just so grateful for everybody who tuned in to watch and left a comment and liked and we got shout outs from people. I'm not going to drop names, but you know who you are, and you know how grateful we are too. So thanks very much.
David?
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching and for liking and for all your comments and support. Thanks.
Yep. So why don't we just jump right into it? Yesterday's game was another disaster for Juventus. And I woke up this morning and I read a tweet from our good friend Julian Dos Santos. And the tweet said basically, I can't believe we won yesterday. Something like that. And that's exactly what I'm feeling. I still can't believe we won. For me, it feels like a loss. It feels like a loss. And I hope management is looking at like a loss, because it was unacceptable. Ronaldo saving the day. But Colin, why don't you get us started with first half recap and what you saw?
Well, first half. I mean, like I called it in the previous game against Fiorentina. I felt that Ronaldo and Dybala were going to drop deep and wide, kind of independently, and not really be connected. As soon as I saw them in the lineup, I thought, okay, maybe here we go again. Hoping against hope that maybe one of them would kind of would cop on, maybe that we need a guy up front. We need a guy, at least one guy at all times. You know what I mean? We can't have two center forwards kind of all over the place at the same time. And that's what we saw in the first half. You know, I tweeted it out. That's how I felt about it. You know, I mean, there was a lot more going on as well. The team looked like they didn't have an idea. You know, what to do, how to score, how to build a play. Their urgency was not there, and they just didn't have the energy. They looked flat. I'll be honest, Udinese looked much better. And
that's the second week in a row that we're saying the team we played looked much better.
Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We just gave the first half away. We create nothing. We're basically, we have no ideas, right? We have no creativities, and we're just allowing these other teams to just press and get into our box and just play their game.
Switched off from the beginning.
Nothing in the first half.
Switched off from the beginning, and it cost us early in the 10th minute with I think there was a free kick outside the area taken quickly. Everyone was turned to their opposite direction, not even looking towards the ball. Passes played quickly to Molina. Molina blasts a beautiful shot that beats Tech. At first, I'm thinking, oh, here we go again. Another bad goal. People are going to go nuts. And they did. Even Colin gave our boy Tech, didn't really mention him in the ratings too much. Just gave him a 5.5 and said, basta finito. But when I looked at the replay, I have much more sympathetic for Tech. When you look at the replay from behind the net and you look at the force of the shot, Tech actually did well to get down quickly with the leg. Just it hit the upper part of his leg and went straight up into the net. And, Yeah, maybe a better keeper could have had that, but should he have had that? I don't know.
No, I mean it was very very hard for me to blame Tech for that, considering you know, just a lack of organization. As you said, there was guys with their backs turned. Alexandro was looking in a complete other direction, and it was his man. Technically, it was his man, and if he wasn't going to cover that side, he needed to make sure that his winger, like, or the guys in the wall, would one would break off. So it just seemed like really bad organization. And for me, I kind of put that on the senior players that are there. Obviously, the goalkeeper's involved because it's a free kick. He's got to organize shit from, to defend his own goal. So, but Bonucci, for me, he should have been a little bit more vocal. He should have been organizing. But look, I said it all year long. Bonucci does more talking when he's on the sideline or in the stand than he is on the field. He's just not he's not an organizer. He's not a leader. But look, this isn't a Bonucci hate podcast. So
now, Dave, me and you in the chat, we're always talking back and forth about Tech and what we should do with Tech, and we both think he's a good goalie and or keeper, I should say. But we're both in favor of, if we can get money for him, we should take the money for him. Did you think he should have had that stop yesterday, or what?
Well, I think that everyone was expecting a shot or a cross into the box, and they just played a quick pass on the right, and he just got in and got that shot. So we gave Molina space to just run in and take that shot on Tech. Tech had a piece of it. We've seen many goals go in that he has a piece on this year. I mean, no, he's not a complete fault for that one, no. But Tech, yes, I'd say it's time to cash in and explore other options.
Yep.
Maybe someone who can also give us a bit of vocal leadership from the back, like we see when Buffon's in the net.
Exactly. I think that's the most important thing, is that we need somebody who's a vocal in the back. I think that's the most important thing for a team, not the captain. I think the most important thing for a team is the keeper in the back. It all starts from the back. And goes to the defense and then goes through the mid and in the mid. Another disastrous game, I think, for American boy Weston McKennie. There was a corner kick from Cuadrado that basically McKennie saw all the way. And he put a head to it, and for some mysterious reason, it went completely wide. And the frustration was shown all over his face. He was basically like me, stomping the ground. Colin, I know we've talked about this a lot, about Weston McKennie. He was a fan favorite at the beginning of the season, but then he ran into some health issues with the hip, and for months it just hasn't been the same. What are you seeing from Weston?
It's hard to tell. We know he's got this hip issue. It was mentioned kind of months back, and I can't remember what game or before what game, but it wasn't like clearly defined what the issue was. Is it an injury? Is it not an injury? If it's an injury, should he not be getting some recovery for that, sitting out for a while and getting right? So he's kind of been playing on. Do you know what I mean? And he's clearly been underpowered. Like, I mean, the first few games he played through it. He just didn't seem to have any energy. They were managing his playing time. He was getting
the energy looks like it's there. He just looks like a chicken with his head cut off.
That's a funny way to put it. But yeah, I mean, like, what way would I describe his game yesterday? I mean, like, he gave the ball away almost. Like, it just seemed like every time he got it, nothing came from it. He had one shot which deflected wide, nothing on target. He didn't get any crosses in. I think he had like one key pass, and he had one huge chance.
Why don't you bring the stats up there? You have the stats on McKennie as I segue to David Bruno, who I know David Bruno was a big fan of Weston McKennie when the season started, and we were talking preseason when McKennie was brought on board to the team.
It's because my uncle lives in Houston, and I've spent time in Houston.
Get out of here.
I'm just joking. I have, yes, but no. I was never a huge McKennie fan, but I got some love with him over that. Oh, the game against Barcelona was amazing. that goal against Barcelona, that's when everyone started going on board with McKennie. He's a good player. I mean, Colin pointed out to me earlier, we were talking about it, and he has 5 goals this season.
We
but
were
he's
comparing him
turned
to
off.
Gattuso earlier in the season, Dave.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, again, after the injury, he hasn't really been the same player. I noticed yesterday he was a physical pest. He was pushing people off the ball. He was being the pest yesterday, but he didn't make much out of creativity. He would just help cycle the ball along from the center backs to the midfield to the flank, right?
It didn't really look like he was retrieving any balls. He was definitely putting pressure on the ball carrier, as sometimes it looked like he was literally running through them and stepping over them. But when you're a team lacking creativity, Colin, I just don't think that's enough.
No, and funnily enough, later on in the second half when Rabiot came on, he got straight in there with a goal involvement, and straight away you're thinking maybe he would have been better off to play Rabiot from the start, but McKennie, like, he conceded a lot of free kicks. He gave the ball away a lot. 11 possessions lost, which was the most of any player in the game. So, like, the ball just did not flow through him at all. It went to him, and kind of that was the finish of the move. But I mean, as I said, like, we have big hopes for the guy. I hope he gets fit, properly fit, and maybe we can see the best of him. I'm hoping he bounces back from it, because I know he's better than this. You see, that's the thing. So, like, I can't just say he's a terrible player. He's not a terrible player. He's a good player. But I mean, he's had a patchy season. Even when he was fit, he had like really good games, and then kind of average enough games, and then he'd have another good one. So, like, there was a lot of hype about him, because he's American and all this, and people were doing memes and the Harry Potter stuff, and everybody was loving it, But I'd just love to see him put good performance after good performance and build some consistency, really would like it.
So anyway, we go
glimpses of him, and he has 3-4 nice games, and then he turns off for a bit. So we want to see him back to consistency and those flashes that we were seeing before that we know he has in him.
I want to move forward to second half. Juve trail 1-0, and the subs, we got Kulu subbing in for Berna and Morata for Dybala. Now, Dybala, a lot of people online talking about Dybala after the game and not really liking this performance, and I gotta say, I was one of them. But I watched the game back again today, and that first half, I kind of changed my opinion on that, and I actually thought he was one of our better players. He looked like he was hustling, dropping back, wasn't hiding as much in the flanks as in previous games, and there was some key passes coming from that left foot of his. Colin, I know you might disagree with me, but what do you think of our boy La Joya?
Like, I kind of said it already. I just thought he was in the wrong area of the field. I tweeted in the first half, I could clearly see Cuadrado talking to Dybala and pointing where he wanted Dybala to be. There was an incident where Cuadrado was on the right wing and Dybala was closer. He was almost right beside Cuadrado, and Cuadrado was looking into the area to see, one, can he play a ball in to feet? Two, can he maybe cross? Something like that. But there was absolutely nobody in there. Ronaldo was actually far out on the left-hand side, and nobody in the box whatsoever, and he was actually telling him, look, you need to be in there, and that, for me, that's, I mean, what's that down to? Like, I mean, there's two things. Like, the player obviously wants to drop deep. He feels like he doesn't, he can't compete with maybe a strong centre back or a crowded central area, or maybe he just likes to pick the ball up from deep, maybe, but. The manager,
think it has to do something with Ronaldo?
Look, Ronaldo's going to do what he does. Ronaldo, even though he drifts out wide, he does get into the box and he does do the business. Do you know what I mean? Dybala tends to stay. Do you know what I mean? And he just picks the ball up and drives. And like 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work out. Do you know what I mean? And when it does, we think he's, we all applaud him and we're delighted for it, but he just doesn't do it often enough. I mean, what does that come down to? Like, I have to give Pirlo some stick for it, because if he can't recognize that, you have to have, I know they're not ideal number 9s. Cristiano Ronaldo is not an ideal number 9, even though he can head the ball, but he's still not a classic number 9. Neither is Dybala, but you still have to get a guy up there in the box area. Otherwise you got midfielders there with the ball or wingers, and they got nobody to play the ball to. Like, how can the team even function? Like, unless you want to just pass the ball around the midfield area from side to side for 90 minutes and kind of.
Well, that's what kind of looks like at times anyway.
That's what it looks
and
like.
then what you see is you have someone like Ramsey who will run in and make that run and play like that 9 when Dybala and Ronaldo are together, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work
make
out.
Sense,
and
Dave. You're right.
Bruno, did you think Dybala was good yesterday?
I mean, look, I saw him run back deep. I saw him try to recover some balls. I saw, from what I recall, maybe 2 or 3 passes that were penetrating the Udinese defensive lines. I think only one of them ended up finding someone. There wasn't much out of it. It wasn't his best game, obviously. He's trying to find his rhythm, but it's definitely not the Dybala that I know, or that we would like to have in our Juventus squad when we say Dybala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before we move on, I just want to put on the record for all the Dybala fanboys out there. I thought he was great yesterday. It's the man up there. This guy right up here, Colin.
Oh, hanging me out to dry. Okay.
He's the one. He's the one who thinks Dybala. So, at Colin. We already touched on West.
Dybala fan.
No, look, hold on a minute.
Okay, say what you want to say.
I'm going to come back in there, right?
Okay. Defend yourself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can defend yourself.
Yeah, I tweeted later on in the game, Dybala actually, he stayed up for a period of about maybe 10 minutes, and he was in the front position, and he got played in. It was a nice little ball from the left-hand side. I can't remember who played it, and it looked dangerous. It turned out to be a corner kick, right? But
I believe it was Sandro.
Yeah, it could have been Sandro. And instantly I was thinking, that's exactly where he needs to be. Yeah. He got the ball played into his feet. He turned, and fair enough, it ended up as a corner kick. But you do that enough times, you're going to end up in scoring positions. And that's all, and that's what I like about Dybala. I mean, Dybala's got a great finish. I want to see him closer to goal. That's just it,
We talked about Weston McKennie, and he was subbed on for Rabiot in the 84th minute, and that's when everything seemed to change. Right before that, there was the penalty, and once again, DePaul doing what a Rabiot did the week before, putting his arm in the air. What was he doing? But lucky for us. And I was in the chat with Colin at that time, and I was just laughing out loud, saying, are you kidding me? After all this is how we're going to tie this game? Yeah. But, of course, we took it, and we all knew Ronaldo was going to bury it. But before I go on to the winning goal, DePaul's error there, what did you think of DePaul? For me, I think and I'm only bringing up DePaul because we see the Juventini on Twitter, and, a lot of people want him, Locatelli. Those were like the big names last summer. And obviously it didn't happen, but, could happen this summer. Who knows? But for me, the price tag I'm hearing, $60 million, I'm sorry, Colin. For me, it's not good enough. I know you're a big fan of DePaul, so how about you try and change my mind?
Oh, look, I mean, the season stats, I'm not going to bring them up, but off the top of my head, he scored 8 goals. He's got 7 assists, something like 20 big chances created.
I think he has 8 goals, 8 assists?
It's 8 and 7.
8 and 7, okay.
That's good. Do you know what I mean? Like, for a midfielder, You know, I mean, if he came to Juve, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be a number 10. He wouldn't be, you know, a trequartista. I imagine he'd be a Mezzala, maybe a number 8 who can join in the attack. But with 8 goals, that's good going. Do you know what I mean? In a team like Udinese, I imagine his potential, if you move to a bigger club, would be much more, you know.
Here's my beef with DePaul. Yes, when he has the ball at his feet and he goes for those runs, it's breathtaking. He looks like a Pelé. No, not that good, but he looks great. The thing is, I watch a lot of City. I mean, a lot of City. And I've watched a lot of Udinese while running on the treadmill, killing off time. And yes, he has 8 goals. But Colin, I've seen a lot of chances that if it was any other player that you were paying that type of fee, those balls are in the back of the net 99.9% of the time. Dave, you a fan of DePaul, the Argentinian?
I think he looked good yesterday in some aspects. His build-up play with Pereira on the side, on the left side, and with Stringer. I mean, they had some great build-up plays. He's the kind of guy where I guess if he has the right players, he'll be really good at carrying the ball up from your end into the other end's box, literally, like creating chances, shots. There was some creativity there. Now, for him to have those points. What other midfielder has those points? Now, we said that McKennie has 5 goals, but who else has 8 goals? I mean, the last midfield that I remember, I said earlier to you guys, to score like 6 or more goals was Pjanic, if I'm not mistaken. So we could use goals from the midfield too. I think this guy could fit in with the right partners. In that midfield.
I think we're definitely missing the goals aspect, and you know, goals and assists. Like, you know,
of course,
gotta have the whole package. And you know, he's strong. He's quite physical. Yeah, like I agreed with you. It's funny, up until that free kick that ended up in the penalty. I thought he was the best player on the park. I thought he was the best player on the park. And it all just went south after that. So, you know.
Well, after that penalty.
Thank you to him.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
If he becomes a Juve player, thank you even more. And hopefully the same thing can happen with another player next game. Wink, wink.
84th minute.
I don't know what you mean there, Dave.
I don't know what he means either. I'm moving on.
I don't know. We'll figure it out in a minute.
A keeper.
We'll get to, we'll talk later. We'll talk later. We will talk later. Stay tuned. So we talked about how bad McKennie was. Rabiot comes in from in the 84th minute, and as soon as he comes on, we got a freak or offside from Udinese. Leads to a quick free kick play to Rabiot, who floats down the left side.
Nice.
And he plays in this sensational little floater that CR7 knocks through the air. And the Udinese keeper was trying to make himself big, and I guess it went through his legs because he couldn't get them closed in time.
Yeah.
Man.
Gotta say, the goal reminded me of Ronaldo's goal against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, where, you know, Bernardeschi played the ball in from the left, and he was just kind of running away towards the back post, jumped from behind the guy, and buried it, you know.
The reaction to that goal was the coolest thing I have seen since there has not been fans at the stadium. I mean, the whole team ran down. Of course, Pinsolio was there first, and Pinsolio 10 rating again. That guy was a 10 rating, Pinsolio, again. But anyways, Pinsolio got there first, and then the whole team, and Pirlo showed up on the scene and got flashed a yellow card. Bruno, what did you think of that moment? I know we even talked earlier this morning about you were watching it again, and you were going crazy even watching it a second time.
When the goal was scored, that was the first real sense of excitement that I had during that game. Let's go, you know? It kind of woke me up. It kind of woke me up during that game. It was just that ball was beautiful. That ball in there. That's what we've been missing all year.
I'm
Someone
gonna
crossing
I'm gonna
from
be
the left.
I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't that excited. I was already reserved to us losing the game, and the fact that we won and was such a great comeback, I still couldn't believe it. And I was so disgusted by our play in the first half and second half leading up to our penalty that I wasn't happy. But one thing I was happy about was Cristiano Ronaldo. And there was a lot of talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, him, a lot of people on Twitter and saying they want him out of the club. His wages are too high.
Sure.
He's not contributing enough. And we're gonna bring those stats up in just a second. But I just want to say, before that goal, or before the penalty was even scored, I think it was Ronaldo who sparked this whole thing altogether. He was coming back. He was winning balls. He was doing things that we don't usually see from Ronaldo. And I think that's what sparked everything.
Driving up the Udinese pitch, pressing the defenders and goalkeeper while they had the ball there too. Kind of provided the spark of.
What did you think of Colin, what did you think of Ronaldo saving the day?
That's what it was. He saved the day. But before that, I have to say I wasn't impressed with him at all. But as an attacking unit, Juve were just terrible. Like, it was a disgraceful performance. It was one of the worst performances I'd seen from Juve in a long, long time. But Ronaldo just literally did it on his own. He did it on his own. He got this free kick, turns into penalty kick, and buries it. And then you just know from that second onward, Ronaldo is switched on. And the team
can you bring up the Ronaldo stats?
He woke up the giant there.
Yeah, so I mean,
we got a lot of people saying that they want to get rid of Ronaldo, but Colin, the stats tell a different story, don't they?
They do. I mean, look, he's the third top scorer in Europe.
36 years old.
Yeah, 36 years old. He's got 27 goals. One less than Lionel Messi, who scored 2 yesterday. Robert Lewandowski, I mean, he's got 36 goals in Bayern Munich. But look, I mean, I'd probably get 20 goals in Germany, so that's okay. But Ronaldo, 27 goals. So, I mean, how can... Like, we just can't say no to that. Do you know what I mean? You can't really be just... I know people complain about the wages and his performances recently haven't been great, but, like, I mean, you got to replace it if you get rid of him. Now,
exactly. You need someone who's going to score.
He might leave
anyway.
And it makes no difference. But, I mean, if we don't get Champions League, 100% he's gone. Like, so... That's the thing.
Well, that W certainly helped us improve our chances in that. And we're talking about how poorly Juventus played and whose fault that is. I mean, Pirlo out hashtag was back once again on Twitter. And, geez, put up that picture of Juventus put out, first of all.
Yeah, just looking at that.
You see what that goal meant to Pirlo. And, come on. When you're running out on the field Mourinho style... Getting yellow cards like that?
Yeah, getting yellow cards.
It was a good moment.
Nearly 4,000 likes on the post. I mean, what can you say about that? I mean, he saved his bacon, 100%. That's like it was Ronaldo to the rescue. I mean, if I was Pirlo, I would have been considering, giving him my resignation after that game. And Ronaldo just literally saved his bacon. I mean...
Can I say my feeling?
Yeah.
During the game, up until we got that penalty... Actually, up until we scored and won the game.
Yeah.
I was coming around to the fact that, we're going to get out of Champions League. We're going to get out of top 4. That's not good enough with a team with Ronaldo on it. I think Pirlo has to go. And that was my opinion. And you know what? I'm not going to back down from that. I think Pirlo's not the guy for the job. I don't care what happens. I don't care if we finish second at the end of the season. I'd like to see Max Allegri back. What do you feel about that, Bruno?
I mean, I'm not going to change my mind from what I said last week. If he wins Coppa Italia and qualifies, okay, go on. But I get what you're saying at the same time, because this 4-4-2 didn't work 2 games ago, and he threw on Morata, and then we saw some spark. It didn't work again. I mean, he's at fault for some things, of course, right? He's inexperienced. What are our chances of winning a Champions League, even if we get into them next year with him behind the bench? So I don't know.
Well,
I won't go against what I said last week, but yeah, I mean,
you're not going to go what you said against last week, and I'm not going to go against what I thought about this whole game.
Yeah.
And, you know, it leads me back to want to pull up that article we saw earlier in the week of Allegri and being spotted. Well, bring up Tonino's article, first of all. And the fact that we're even talking about Allegri again. Now, Tonino, our beautiful prodigy, wrote a beautiful article talking about the chances of Allegri coming back. And then we saw the picture of Allegri spotted in the town square. Now, that got a lot of buzz on Twitter. And Bruno, I know you want to explain maybe why Allegri was in Torino in the first place.
well, there's the fact that his son lives out in Torino. I mean, there's a house out there. There could be many reasons why he was there, right?
Yeah, 100%. Many reasons. Obviously, this stirred up a lot of attention on Twitter earlier on in the week. But does it make it any more or less likely? Doesn't really matter.
Well,
I mean, Allegri could be on holidays in Timbuktu, and it wouldn't make a damn bit of a difference.
Conte was in Torino today. Maybe he's coming back to Juve.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? Or he was checking out his star.
Speaking of the nonsense on Twitter, I woke up this morning to a lot of people saying that Juve have made an official offer for Donnarumma. And I was looking into it, and I got to be honest, I can't find any source saying that Donnarumma has an offer from Juventus. Colin, you have a little bit of an update on that story?
Yeah, I saw the same thing myself. I was having a little look around. Obviously, there's a lot of there's a lot of speculation about Juve going in for Donnarumma. His contract talks have stalled. I found an article to the Mercato web.
Yep.
It was elsewhere, also, and just saying basically that AC Milan have offered him an 8 million contract. Apparently, 1 million of that is bonus, and there's a release clause of 35 million on it as well. They've turned that down, and Raiola being
if they don't make Champions League.
If they don't make Champions League.
Just for the clause.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't come into effect even because they've turned it down. So
yes, you're right.
He's come back to AC Milan. Raiola has said, I have a prospective offer of 10 million euro, and
there's no mention of a club.
No, there's no mention of a club.
So this could just be Raiola making things up to get the conversation started.
It could easily be just a
bluff,
a negotiation kind of that's what you say. That's what you say. Like if you're trying to sell something or sell an idea, you're like, look, I've got other interested parties, but I mean, it could easily be it could be Juve as well. You know what I mean? But to say there's an official bid gone in, that's just factually incorrect. That's just wrong. So yeah, they've put in a request for a 12 million euro contract. They've said they have offers of 10 million waiting as well, and Milan have to come back. Now we know already that that Gigio has had issues with the Milan Ultras at their training ground, so you guys probably know about that.
We saw the article earlier in the week that basically, if you don't know, here's a quick summary. The Ultras in Milan have basically said to Donnarumma, made him an ultimatum: either you're signing by the time we play Juve or you're out.
Yeah, you don't play.
Yeah, and I think the controversy around it is that why he ended up out there talking to them in the first place. So yeah, fair enough to have those views, and ultras turn up to training grounds. That's not unusual. But somehow a communication got from them into the training staff, and Donnarumma was told to go out, or apparently he initially said no, he didn't want to go out, and somehow he ended up having to go out and talk to them. So I think there's a lot of controversy about that. Maybe he feels he shouldn't have had to deal with that kind of crap. And I kind of tend to agree with him.
Yeah,
so.
it bothered him.
What do you think of this Donnarumma nonsense, Dave?
I mean, look, it could be. Right now, it's just speculation. I've read a couple of articles in terms of that offer that Juve apparently made, which it's unverified. I mean, I've done research on different news feeds trying to verify that info. I wasn't able to. But I mean, I saw they were offering him 10 mil a season. They offered Raiola 20 mil and 3 mil to Alfonso, Donnarumma's father. But it's right now, no one can confirm this right now. All I can say is I'd love to have Gigi 2.0, and I think ever since he became the starter at 17 of AC Milan, we've been courting him. We've always wanted him. I'm totally on board with what we said before about Tech cashing in. I'd love to have Donnarumma, but right now no one knows anything what's confirmed or what actually is happening.
Yeah, I mean, just so people don't get us wrong, I think Juve will go. I think Juve will go in for Donnarumma. I think if they get the opportunity, they will get that bid in. We're just saying it hasn't happened yet. So if you read it out there, as far as I can tell, and we've searched high and low, it's not legit. So if you didn't hear it from any of the top sources or see it on Max Statman, it just didn't happen.
It just did not happen. And my personal opinion is I think Donnarumma is playing games. I really do think. And I think Milan is playing games by signing another keeper. But in the end, I think they'll come to a compromise. I think Donnarumma deserves the money he wants, sure. But I think he loves his teammates and Champions League. You know what, Bruno? You may have changed my mind. He's going to Juve. If Juve make Champions League and Milan doesn't, I think we may see him in the stripes.
He's someone that's been compared to Gigi Buffon for years, since he's 17. He needs to be playing top level every year.
And that's the thing. We got Buffon right at the right time. He just started getting into his prime. Everyone knew at that time he was going to be the best keeper in the world. He had missed that Euro for Italy, but then in 2002 World Cup, he was amazing. Won that World Cup from 2006. And that's what we need. We need a goalie that we can have a long-term relationship with. And if we can get Donnarumma signed up right now, man, we will never have to think about that position for, 10, 15 years maybe?
Who knows? He could be another Buffon and do 20 years for us. It could be.
That would be beautiful.
It'd be amazing. He's got a lot of talent. I'm not one of the reasons why I'm kind of I'm skeptical, or I'm slow to jump on Juve threw in that 10 million bid that they're talking about, because Juve are not the only team that would be interested in Donnarumma. There's plenty of teams that would be interested.
Chelsea are linked too.
Yeah, Chelsea are heavily linked too. So
heavily.
Yeah. So again, great player.
One of my views, quick, is that Milan, they were in a Champions League spot, but Milan, they always fall off. They drop points halfway through the season. Super League was like having an ace in their back pocket to entice Donnarumma, right? Now that's off. And if they don't make the Champions League, Donnarumma, he seems to be fed up. It's like an ultimatum for him. He really wants to play UCL. He deserves top level.
So this isn't money. This is hard. This is Champions League.
Ambition and money at the same time. You got to give him. he's making 6 mil.
Well, they
He's worth
won
more
at the
than 6
weekend.
mil.
Yeah.
What was that, Colin?
They won at the weekend, AC Milan, so I think they won 2-0.
Yes, they did.
So, if you remember the last pod, we looked at the three teams we thought were going to be competing. So Napoli, Juve, and AC Milan. Juve were the only away team. Napoli, I think, drew. So they drew at home with Cagliari. So that's definitely a mini blow to them. It's not over yet.
No.
Juve have a long road to go. AC Milan, they've got Atalanta in the cup, they've got Merida, they've got Bologna then to finish. So it's not gonna be easy. But
we're level on points too.
We're level on points. Yeah,
we're just ahead of them because of goal difference.
Yeah,
we can do it.
Now
we're gonna play a big game against them next game. Winning the Udinese game in 10 minutes, I see that as a mental boost, and I was always confident that we're going to play one of the best games of the year against AC Milan. I'm really hoping.
Guys, I'm a little bit depressed right now because I'm looking down on my sheet of paper, and I'm seeing the next topic here. And I really didn't want to have to talk about this, but at Max Statman, we are very professional, and the professionals we are, we will have to bring up the fact that Merida won the Scudetto, sealed it yesterday with Atalanta's 1-1 draw to Sassuolo, and congratulations, Merida, on your weakest Scudetto in the history of the championship, and screw you, Antonio Conte, you bald fraud. Colin, what do you have to say about Merida clinching the Scudetto?
Look, congratulations to them, and well played, but I just it's a sore one because Juve never really tested them in the league. We never. We had a good January. We never really built on that. And
do you think them getting knocked out of the group stage of the Champions League so early played a factor?
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at games played, though, there's going to be some people who argue and say stuff like, "Well, it's only, I think, a couple of games difference."
I mean, no, it's not, like it's your recovery time from game to game. So, like a Champions League game.
Because we're looking at sometimes where Juventus was playing 2 games a week and Merida were only playing 1.
3 games in 7 days.
Yeah, 3 games in 7 days.
Yeah. Get overworked and it's hard to heal your muscles during that small time.
Absolutely, yeah. So, look, I don't want to get into excuses. Juve weren't good enough. That's why they didn't put pressure on Inter. They should have been able to put pressure. And if you look at the last couple of Serie A titles we won, we were at some stages put under pressure. I know Lazio died off after the first lockdown, but we were under pressure. Napoli have put us under pressure in the past. Inter have put us under pressure, and Juve have always been able to kind of, to just hold their nerve. Do you know what I mean? Not break and. We never even got to test out this Inter team. They're good. That's great, but
Bruno, do you think this was a mirage? You think Juve will be back next season, or you think Merida are going to do it again with Antonio Conte?
Well, look, I mean, at one point the league was extremely competitive. There was 5-6 teams in the loop at one point. I mean, I have to give it to them. They lost 2 games. They had a long run. They deserve the title, and congratulations to Merida. Now, next year, I mean, we obviously need to get rid of players. We need to add a couple of key players. I think we can be back challenging. It's not like we need a complete rebuild. We're just missing 1 or 2 little pieces, and I think we could definitely challenge Merida. Of course. We're Juventus. We should always be challenging.
Is this a mirage, Colin?
No,
Are we going to be back? I mean, we saw the Agnelli tweet. Agnelli basically said we will be back next year. You agree with Andrea?
Cool.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, whether it's with Pirlo or not, or someone else, or Max Allegri, or you know, whether Ronaldo's there or Dybala leaves, or you know, Juve will be back 100%. But Inter are not going to go away. You know, I mean.
Well, here's something we didn't talk about in the show preparation that I'm remembering right now. I don't know if you have the article with you, but I remember earlier this week you were talking about a meeting with John Elkann and who was it? Our good boy Guido.
Yeah, so I tweeted about this earlier on in the week, and I actually spoke about it on the podcast last week as well. We were talking about the finances, and you know, without the Super League, how are we going to get the finances?
Yep.
So
there was a kind of a secret meeting that took place.
Yeah, so like just to complete the background, like I mean, I said basically because the financial fair play regulations are relaxed, it is an opportunity for the XOR, which is the holding group, headed up by John Elkann, to inject cash into our capital, into the club. So they actually had a yearly meeting. Elkann arrived onto Contenassa, which is the training ground. They were
didn't even greet the players, I heard.
No. Apparently, usually that's what happens. Yeah. It basically went straight to board meetings. Now, a couple of days went past, and Guido Vaccaggio, a very respectable journalist, writes for Tutto Sport. He basically said that Elkann will bring the idea to increase the capital investment from the XOR group to their meeting, which is XOR's meeting. It's an annual meeting, and it's happening on the 27th of May. Now, Elkann he's the top man at XOR, so if it's his idea and he's on board, there's a strong chance that it might actually happen. Now, people have been saying since then, maybe this was the plan B that they had if
the Super League didn't go through.
Out, you know, which would be very clever indeed. Yeah, a good plan B.
That's good.
That's a very good plan B. So I haven't heard figures. Yet, but like the last time they put money into the club was 18 months ago, and it was 300 million euro, most of which got used up by pandemic kind of losses. So
that's what I was going to ask you, Colin. What do you think this money is going to go towards? Now, I don't want to get everyone excited at home thinking, "Wow, the guy who runs the whole show." You know what I mean? Exactly. We gotta be realistic here. Now, this 300 million not necessarily is just going straight to Juve and to Mino Raiola. This is Colin. Can you explain a little more?
I mean, like we're still going to be losing money. They're only talking about getting fans back in for the Coppa Italia, and that's going
20%.
20%, yeah, a couple of thousand people max. So who knows what's going to happen? Do you know what I mean? And like, if you saw the Inter celebrations,
Merda.
Yeah. If you saw sorry, I made a mistake.
Please refer to episode 1,
folks. We have whenever I'm going to give you a little bit of inside baseball behind the scenes. Whenever we say the word I word by mistake, we actually have a cookie jar that we put money into, and at the end of the year, we fly out to Ireland, and that money goes towards our Christmas party. Just to let everyone know, that's what happens when we say the I word on this show. But continue, Colin.
Yeah, I'm out for a few euros so far, definitely.
Yes.
But yeah, like we're talking about the pandemic, you know, and we're hoping everything's going to be over and done with. But looking at the Inter celebrations there today, the photograph, good friend Mirko Di Natale posted it.
I mean, we're in lockdown over here.
We're in lockdown, like, you know. Apparently, this
curfews and things.
Yeah. Here. So he says today campione, tomorrow tamponi. So. So today the champions, and tomorrow they'll be taking the COVID test. But we don't wish COVID on anyone, by the way. So that's
it it would be nice to see something like this in a non-COVID era, right?
Bruno, how are you feeling about this LCAM meeting? Do you think there's a chance that maybe Agnelli could be out?
Oh, no, they're cousins. I think they would discuss that privately. Like, it wouldn't be a scheduled meeting, or media wouldn't be paying attention to that. I don't think so.
Okay, well, speaking of COVID and the Merda celebrations, I want to touch quickly before we wrap up on our good friend number 8, Claudio Marchisio, who was just diagnosed with COVID. Colin, you have any update on that?
Yeah, so it was announced there that I think maybe last night or early this morning that both himself, his wife, and one of his sons have been diagnosed with COVID. So just want to wish him and his family the very best and a speedy recovery, and thinking of him in this time. Juventus legend. So it's.
Any thoughts on Marchisio, the great number 8?
Yeah, legend. He sent out a tweet 8 hours ago, posting a picture of De Paul's elbow for the penalty. So I mean, hopefully he's not doing too bad, and we wish the best for anyone who's suffering from COVID in general.
Yep.
Yeah. So get well, and we hope to see more of his tweets and his comments and his pictures soon.
Well, guys, that almost wraps it all up. But before we go, I just wanted to say, I think this was a good show. And you know how I knew this was a good show? Because I'm looking at the clock right now, and it says 52:30. And the time just flew by.
Clock's off. Mine says 54:25.
Oh.
Or my clock's off.
Maybe your clock's off.
Let's make some adjustments.
But before I go, I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in last week again. Remember to like and subscribe, and tune in next week. We'll be back next Monday or Tuesday around this time, and we might have a special announcement. So stay tuned for that next week. Colin, any last words before we sign off, buddy?
Thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in, and it's been a lot of fun. And as I said last time, you're going to be seeing a lot more of us. And share it. Let people know if you like it. Share it with your friends.
Bruno.
Thanks for the opportunity, guys. We're here because you're supporting us. So thank you for that. And we'll always continue to do our best to put out a good show and provide some good information to all the Juventini around.
Yep. And to every single person watching, listening, this guy right here, he loves you. He loves you.
Excellent.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Fino alla fin. Forza Juventus.
Ciao, ciao.